Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to this video lecture series on behalf of Project Sati. My name is Dr. Animesh, and today we are going to discuss jurisdiction of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023. This is in continuation of our discussions on criminal law, and the last class we were discussing about abatement, and this is the eighth lecture of the first module, and the last lecture of first module. After that, we'll start our second module, that is general exceptions. Okay, so we'll move forward. Welcome again, everyone. Uh, Today, our topic is jurisdiction. First things first, jurisdiction. What is the meaning of jurisdiction? The first thing that we have to discuss. Now, jurisdiction primarily means power to exercise authority. Adhikar kshetra, what we speak in Hindi, what we say in Hindi. Okay, it is adhikar kshetra, your power to exercise authority, where you can exercise your power. For simple example, your father and your mother have their jurisdiction at home. Your principal has the jurisdiction in the whole school. Your teacher has a jurisdiction in the classroom. Principal has on whole school. District education officer on every district in the house, in that particular every school in that district. Similarly, jurisdiction means कहाँ तक आपकी क्षमता, आपका कार्य क्षेत्र कहाँ तक है, आपकी क्या पावर्स है. सपोज हाई कोर्ट इज देयर, हाई कोर्ट की jurisdiction is till that particular state in which that high court is situated. District court can deal the matters in their district. Obviously, that is something what we call jurisdiction. कि भाई मेरे, it is beyond my control and beyond my power. That is something that we use commonly. And that is what jurisdiction is. आप कहाँ तक अपनी पावर एक्सरसाइज कर सकते हैं. अगर आप एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट है तो आपकी पावर उसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट तक है. आप चीफ मिनिस्टर है तक तो आपकी पावर वही तक है. दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर की पावर यूपी में नहीं, यूपी के चीफ मिनिस्टर की पावर तमिलनाडु में नहीं. ऑब्वियसली दैट इज व्हाट जुरिस्डिक्शन मीन. इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर की पावर नेपाल में नहीं है, भूटान में नहीं है, श्रीलंका में नहीं है, पाकिस्तान में थोड़ी थोड़ी है. ओके, दैट जोक्स अपार्ट, बट नॉनदलेस दैट इज व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू से, दैट जुरिस्डिक्शन इज योर पावर to exercise authority, and that authority can be anything. As far as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita or jurisdiction is in our current context of law is considered, हम लोग क्या बात कर रहे हैं कि जो भारत में criminal laws, let's say the most prominent is obviously भारतीय न्याय संहिता. Whom it punishes, किसको punish करेंगे हम? Whether we punish every crime done at every place in the whole world, कहीं पे भी कोई भी crime हुआ तो हमारा jurisdiction बनेगा क्या? इसका आंसर है नहीं. We have a particular territory and a particular domain in which we can punish people. For simplest example, we'll give you. Suppose a person comes to your local police station and says कि सर अमेरिका में एक व्यक्ति ने दूसरे व्यक्ति का मर्डर कर दिया, या फिर टेररिस्ट अटैक हो गया किसी कंट्री में, सर आप कुछ करो. तो what will the थाना अध्यक्ष will, थाना प्रभारी will say? थाना प्रभारी will probably slap you if, and will ask you if you are drunk or what. He'll say कि अमेरिका में क्राइम हुआ, हम क्या करेंगे? Obviously, it's not beyond my, it's beyond my control. So every crime by its definition is not something in the matter of which the government actually can act, the state can act, the police can act. No, they have restricted power. Their restrictions is put by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita itself. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita defines कि jurisdiction है या नहीं. अच्छा बच्चों, दूसरा पॉइंट है टाइप्स ऑफ jurisdiction. टाइप ऑफ jurisdiction मतलब किस किस तरह के jurisdictions होते हैं. क्रिमिनल लॉ, we are talking about criminal law. Civil law, the whole debate is different. In criminal law, we have something called territorial jurisdiction. Territorial jurisdiction यानी कि भाई, which simply means जिसकी टेरिटरी उसका jurisdiction. टेरिटोरियल jurisdiction का मतलब होता है बच्चों, whosoever is whatever is done or whatever happens in the territory of a particular country, it falls within the jurisdiction of that country. भारत की धरती पर कुछ भी हुआ, भारत का jurisdiction. यूएस की धरती पे हुआ, ऑब्वियसली यूएस का जुरिस्डिक्शन, इस चाइना की धरती पे वो उनका जुरिस्डिक्शन. So that is what we call the most basic and simple type of jurisdiction. That is what we call territorial jurisdiction. Okay. Then we have jurisdiction. Then we have something called personal jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction yani ki which depends on the person. Person. Uh, Although personal jurisdiction is not a very correct term, but समझने के लिए, just for the sake of understanding, it means that jurisdiction on people. जैसे कि if a citizen of Bharat, if a person is Indian citizen, wherever in the world he goes, he will remain within the jurisdiction of Bharat because he is citizen of Bharat. भारत का citizen world में कहीं भी चला जाए, the person will be that person will be within jurisdiction of Bharat. हमारे jurisdiction में रहेगा क्योंकि हमारा व्यक्ति है. तो भारत की धरती पे भी भारत का पूरा राइट है और भारत के व्यक्ति पे भी भारत का पूरा राइट है. The territory of India is India's. Obviously, the people of Bharat is also belongs to Bharat. And the Bharat will have every right in the case the person who has committed a crime is also the Bharat. Third type of jurisdiction is bachcho victim-based jurisdiction. It is not recognized in Bharat per se, but in some international instrument that it is there. And that jurisdiction is victim-based. Yani ki if the victim of the crime is of a particular country, that country will get jurisdiction. That is not included in BNS. But कई सारे देशों में ऐसा है. Plus international law में भी कहीं पे ऐसा we come to know that there are some issues with related to international law associated with victim-based jurisdiction. Victim मतलब who is the victim of the crime. If the victim of the crime is of a particular country, that country may also have jurisdiction over that matter. जैसे कि अगर सपोज किसी यूएस के सिटीजन को आपने कहीं और मर्डर कर दिया, इससे एक बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है म्यूनिक में द इजराइल ओलंपिक टीम वाज अटैक्ड बाय टेररिस्ट एंड दे वर किल्ड एंड द इजराइल टुक द वेंजेंस बाय किलिंग every terrorist was responsible for the attack, by actually simply pursuing them all over the world. So Munich is the operation of Hammer of God, I believe. Name of that operation was conducted by Mossad. So that is also one kind of jurisdiction, but is not an established jurisdiction. And fourth, and which is an established kind of jurisdiction, is universal jurisdiction. Universal jurisdiction is generally applicable in the cases which are crimes against humanity. Crime against humanity का मतलब बच्चों क्या होता है? It is those crimes which can be punished by anyone in the world. कोई भी country उसको punish कर सकती है. And there are two prominent crime against humanity. Number one is genocide. Genocide simply means when a particular person or a group of person or even a country starts killing people on the basis of their identity. That identity can be racial, it can be religious, it can be based on caste, whatever the case, whatever group that might be. Genocide is when you start killing on the basis of identity and not what they have done. If you kill people uh, for what they have done, that is different from killing them for who they are. So that is something very important. So when the genocide happens, every country will have jurisdiction. This specifically was agreed upon by after the uh, Second World War. Second World War, obviously, what Hitler did, he killed, I believe, 6 million Jews were killed. And it was a classic case, textbook case of genocide. So genocide, obviously, any country in the world had a jurisdiction. Obviously, at that time, it was not known. The full extent of that genocide was revealed only after the World War ended. What happened? So obviously, nowadays, if a country comes to know that okay, genocide is happening, every country will have the right to interfere, to stop that genocide. But obviously, it will have to be done. obviously somebody should care about those people then. In India, we have seen the Kashmiri Hindu genocide, we have seen, but little to no value was given to that particular scenario. That's unfortunate, but nonetheless. And then we have another universal crime against humanity is called piracy. Pirate. हमको पता है समंदर में pirates, आपने Pirates of the Caribbean देखी होगी and all. Pirates are the people which simply disrupt the trade route, and they are some of the worst people. They commit crimes against the humanity. So the pirates, any country will find pirates, they will punish them. Simple. No country, no specific jurisdiction will have to be established. Pirate को जो पकड़ेगा वही punish कर देगा. They have every right to interfere. Pirates are fair game for every country, every navy. किसी भी देश की नेवी के हाथ पायरेट्स लग जाएंगे तो वो उनको पकड़ लेंगे. नो वन विल लुक कि भाई क्या जुरिस्डिक्शन है, पायरेट्स कौन है, किसकी टेरिटरी है. इट्स ऑल इमटेरियल बिकॉज दैट्स अ यूनिवर्सल क्राइम. So these are generally 4 types of jurisdiction that we have. Okay, universal jurisdiction, obviously same is there in the international instruments. Victim-based jurisdiction is not there in India, and the international jurisdiction also have very limited application of it. Then we have intra-territorial and extra-territorial. Extra-territorial is what we call personal jurisdiction. These two types of jurisdiction are there in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. BNS includes these two types of jurisdiction. Intra-territorial means within the country, and extra-territorial jurisdiction. But before we begin the jurisdiction of BNS किन-किन पर apply करता है, कब-कब apply करता है, so let's talk about the people who are exempted from application of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. This might be very interesting for you from the CLAT perspective. First class of people who are exempted from application of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita are president and governors. भारत के प्रेसिडेंट और भारत के किसी भी राज्य के गवर्नर till they are holding that office, जब तक वो प्रेसिडेंट हैं and till they are governor, they cannot be prosecuted for a crime. Even if they commit murder, even if they whatever they might have done, they cannot be punished or they cannot be prosecuted for their crime till they are actually president or governor. The logic behind is that the president and governor are positions of very high constitutional stature, and the person who is sitting in that stature should be temporarily. So obviously, I am saying कि suppose president ने कोई crime कर दिया, president रहते, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो punish नहीं होंगे. वो होंगे जब वो president नहीं रह जाएंगे तब punish. लेकिन जब तक वो president है, obviously you cannot punish the president while the president is president. It is also very, we can say it is impossible because the police won't go and arrest the president. There is the guards of the president will not allow the police personnel to even come near the president. And as you know, president is the supreme commander of all 3 forces of army. So do you think a police personnel will dare to actually go near the president? No, they will not. The president is very powerful. President is obviously it is just for the sake of formality, but still the president is very powerful. The president has 3,000 bodyguards. That is called guards of the president regiment. There is a whole army regiment to protect the president, and the governors have similar security. So president and governors, while they are president and governor, they cannot be prosecuted. Obviously, suppose on an off chance, in a very extremely rare hypothetical situation, if the president or governor they commit a crime, first they will have to be removed from that post. Obviously, parliament is entitled, has the power to actually initiate the removal of the president, and governors can be removed by the president at any point of time. This now at the pleasure of the president. And whenever president here means central government. The central government will want, governor will have to leave the position. So president and governor, even if they commit the crime, it's not that they are completely exempted, but no, it is not that the person is exempted. Rather, it is the position which is exempted. So if a person is a president, any criminal case, whatever, anything that is there pending against that person, nothing will be done against that person while the president is president. They are beyond the scope of criminal law. That person is not exempted. That position is exempted. So if I have been appointed, you are appointed as governor of any state, from that moment, there is no Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita for you. But the moment you will not no longer be governor, means you will relinquish or you will be removed from that post, everything that you have done will come in front of you. Now you will have to face consequences for it. Okay. Now, second exemption is about foreign sovereign. Foreign sovereign yani foreign head of the countries. Obviously, there is something called a diplomatic immunity. Now, diplomatic immunity is available first and foremost to the foreign sovereigns. Sovereigns means foreign head of the state. Any person who is the head of the state of a foreign country, American president, any president of any country, or in those countries there are no president, prime minister, premiers, whosoever is the head of the state, they are exempted from BNS. So suppose tomorrow Joe Biden or say I think President Trump is about to be sworn in, President comes to Bharat and he commits any crime, we will say that what you have done, but we cannot punish. Absolutely, it is prohibited because of international commitments that we have. We cannot punish, we cannot apply our own laws, municipal laws on a foreign sovereign. No. If a person is a foreign head of the state, they enjoy absolute blanket immunity. भारत आकर के मर्डर कर दिया, हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे, हम छोड़ देंगे, गाने देंगे, बोलेंगे थैंक यू सर, बाय. This is because uh, the friendly relation with foreign countries is something very important. And if foreign sovereign are not completely given this assurance that absolutely nothing, no harm will come to you, then only they will visit your country, and obviously you cannot charge them, you cannot punish them in any way. Then we have diplomatic immunity. This is available to all the person who are considered diplomats. Diplomats in India, we have head of the mission, uh, consulate, journal में वो फिर बैठते हैं, ambassador. Those ambassador, those staffs who are representing a particular country in their country, they are given diplomatic immunity as per Vienna Convention. This is a very old system. You see, in Vienna Convention, the world came to agree on this, but in our culture, in Bharat, this diplomatic immunity, idea of diplomatic immunity is as old as time. You'll find it very interesting that in Ramayana, when Shri Hanumanji went to Ravan as a as a messenger of Shri Ram, and he stipulated meaning that I am the messenger of Shri Ram, and he stated a number of things. He stated his demands, and because he has already committed the various infractions, he burned the Ashok Vatika, killed one of the sons of the Ravan. Ravan was furious. He wanted to kill and punish Hanumanji for what he has done. But Vibhishan stated at that point of time that, see, this is a messenger, and we do not harm the messenger. We do not kill the Doot. At no point of time a Doot is harmed. That is why Ravana acknowledged this international law and simply agreed that, okay, he should not be killed at least, but his tail should be put on fire, that we know how it went. But nonetheless, even in the Valmiki Ramayana, this particular idea is there of diplomatic immunity. If somebody is a representative of a foreign sovereign in your country, that foreign sovereign will have to be given same leverage, same protection as that foreign sovereign. कोई भी व्यक्ति अगर वो डिप्लोमेटिक पासपोर्ट लेकर के आता है भारत, तो भारत की आईपीसी हम उस पर बीएनएस अप्लाई नहीं करते. वी गिव दैट पर्सन एग्जेम्पशन कि भाई ठीक है, कोई बात. इवन इफ अ क्राइम इज कमिटेड, that person is not arrested, neither is prosecuted. What maximum you can do, you can simply uh, ask that particular country to revoke his credentials and you can send that person back. That you can do, but you cannot actually punish or prosecute that person. Okay. Last but not the least, prisoners of war or any person who is committing war, who is an army personnel, who is acting on the orders of that country, is a soldier in a war, he cannot be punished as per Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. See, in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, there is an offense of waging war against India, which is punishable by death. Waging war against India, punishable by death. Now, those 93,000 Pakistani soldiers that we captured in 1971, you remember 1971 war? India and Bangladesh, that Bangladesh liberation war, which apparently those Bangladeshis have forgotten, those absolutely Kritagna people who are thankless and shameless people have forgotten what Bharat has done to them. Bharat has done for them, how many soldiers we lost protecting their land and their women from Pakistani army, but somehow they have forgotten all that. But nonetheless, Bharat was fighting on both of fronts. We were fighting. We had a bloody battle. We lost a lot of life. Many of the soldiers were martyred. And we captured at the end of the war 93,000 Pakistani army personnel. Now, they were obviously guilty of waging a war against India. They were actively fighting a war against India. But we didn't actually punish them. Nobody tried them. Nobody punished them. We simply kept them here for a few years. And after that, we returned them to Pakistan without trial, without punishment. Why so? Because they were prisoners of war. And as per Geneva Convention, if you capture a prisoner of war, you cannot subject them to your own municipal, your own criminal law. They'll have to be treated by international law. So if an Indian soldier is captured, like the case of Abhinandan, I think Wing Commander Abhinandan was captured by Pakistani army recently. Now, when he was captured, the Pakistanis could not have done anything because they are also bound by Geneva Convention. They absolutely cannot do anything to that person. Although they are not the Pakistanis because it was very much televised, they could not do anything. But they are again they did very heinous crimes against some of our soldiers in Kargil war, Captain Saurabh Kalia and all. So obviously, but any civilized country, leave aside Pakistan, any civilized country will obviously uh, honor the Geneva Convention and not subject that person or prisoner of war to torture or to punishment of any kind. They are exempted from any type of criminal law. So if we capture any Pakistani or Bangla, any foreigner who is waging war against India at the discretion of their country, we will not punish them. In Kargil, we caught a lot of Pakistani soldiers, but we cannot punish them because they are prisoners of war. Okay, moving on. Intra-territorial jurisdiction. What is intra-territorial jurisdiction? First, it says that any crime committed on the Indian soil, any crime committed on Indian soil will be prosecuted and punished by the Indian authorities. भारत की जमीन, obviously भारत की सारी जमीन भारत की है. And see, there is a concept of enclaves. Enclaves means, enclave का मतलब होता है बच्चों भारत के अंदर भी foreign country. There are foreign territories within India and there are Indian territories in all over the world, and that are called embassies. Wherever और जिस भी country की embassy होती है वो उसी country का part मानी जाती है. The embassy of any country is considered to be part of that country only. So if there is an Indian embassy in New York, in England, in London, that particular territory is Indian territory. So if a crime is committed within Indian embassy, obviously India has jurisdiction. And similarly, if a crime is committed within the Japanese consulate in India, we have in New Delhi, there is a particular area which has all foreign consulate, embassies. Embassy जो है वो जिस country की embassy है वो उसी country का part मानी जाती है. This is a very interesting international law provision. So but barring those embassies, if any crime is committed within India, in the Indian soil, we have absolute jurisdiction. We have absolute jurisdiction भले ही the person who has committed the crime is a foreigner, is a person of foreign origin. Suppose एक अमेरिकन ने एक ब्रिटिश व्यक्ति का क्राइम दिल्ली में कर दिया, मर्डर कर दिया, तो who will have jurisdiction? Obviously, Bharat has jurisdiction because if it is Bharat's territory, so Bharatiya police have jurisdiction in 100% of the cases. A few years back, but there is a case of Italian Marines. In Indian waters, the Italian Marines, there was a ship, and some of the Italian Navy soldiers, they shot some Indian fishermen. And when those fishermen were dead, Indian Navy immediately they were sprung to action and they arrested those foreign nationals, and we started prosecuting them because they have committed crime in Indian waters. Indian waters means भारत की जो टेरिटोरियल वाटर्स यानी कि हमारी समुद्री हमारी जो लैंड है from that particular from our last shore to 12 nautical miles in the sea is Indian territorial water. 12 nautical miles is the territorial water of Bharat, and within 12 nautical miles if any crime has been committed, obviously Bharat has jurisdiction. तो हमारे फिशरमैन को उन्होंने मार दिया इंडियन टेरिटोरियल वाटर में, हमने जाके उनको अरेस्ट कर लिया, एंड ऑब्वियसली at that time our government was not so much cautious. We allowed them to go back for an election and they never came back. It was a diplomatic failure, but notwithstanding the same, we have right to arrest anyone who has committed crime within Indian soil. On Indian soil, if they have committed a crime, we'll hold them responsible. Okay. It is also not required that the person should be in with the Indian jurisdiction to commit the crime. भारत के jurisdiction के बाहर रहते हुए अगर कोई भारत में क्राइम करे तो whether we will punish that person, yes, because whether the criminal is in India is not relevant, whether the crime is committed in India is relevant. है ना? इसमें बच्चों आप कहेंगे कि भाई ये कैसे हो सकता है? बिल्कुल हो सकता है. Suppose cyber attack, a person who is sitting in a foreign country, if they attack a computer resource situated in India, hacking attempt होते हैं ना? There are hackers. Every country has a lot of hackers in their employ, and they're constantly testing your digital security. Sometimes you see websites are hacked and random messages are shown in that. Indian hackers do that all the time. Chinese hackers, Pakistani hackers, every hackers are there. Those hackers, they definitely do a lot of nuisance. While sitting some places, they will hack into your computer, into your internet protocols and internet system. And that is considered a crime. Obviously, we'll try to punish that person who has committed that crime. Similarly, obviously, when I say that a crime can be committed over internet, it simply increases a lot of avenues, a lot of ways in which the crime can be committed in India. So if anybody has done any crime over the internet, that becomes a crime in India, and therefore we will try to punish that person, extradite that person. Suppose a foreigner has tried to scam. A lot of scam calls come from Pakistan to India. वो आएंगे और वो बोलेंगे कि मैं ये यहाँ पे लोकेश ये शर्मा बात कर रहा हूँ, ये वो बिल्कुल, and they do not have an Indian accent. Some of the videos I see is very funny. In the Pakistani accent, they start speaking about that, okay, somebody has been arrested. They try to scam people. Yes. Okay. So when they are scamming people from, suppose sitting in Lahore, they are scamming someone in Madhya Pradesh. Obviously, we'll try Indian government have jurisdiction over that. The BNS is applicable on that person, provided we can extradite that person to India. We have all the power in our hand. If that person comes to India, is found in India, obviously we can punish that, even though the crime he committed was from a foreign country. Okay, so the foreign person, if he has committed a crime on Indian territory, that will be considered as within the jurisdiction of BNS. तो अगर कोई व्यक्ति हाफिज सईद ने भारत के बाहर से भारत में क्राइम कराया ना, उसने अबेट किया क्राइम पाकिस्तान में, टेररिस्ट आए इंडिया में, उन्होंने अटैक किया, ऑब्वियसली दैट if we ever find Hafiz Saeed, we will punish him in India. Although he never came to India, but nonetheless we will try and punish him. because what he did had an effect in India. So भारत के बाहर से भी अगर कोई भारत में crime करता है, so we will punish that person for sure. Okay. So liability of foreigners is that they will be punished. If a foreigner comes to India, commits a crime, that person will absolutely be liable in under Indian. And also, they cannot say that I didn't know the law. Not knowing the law is not a defense. If a foreigner comes to India, kills a cow, tries to eat beef in the states where it is banned, he cannot say, sir, in America I used to have steak and beef all the time. I don't know why I can do it in India. They'll not. That person will be punished, notwithstanding the fact that in his country what the law is. Whatever the law is in his country, it is not our headache. If the person has come to India, he will have to respect Indian laws. Okay, so that is the liability of foreigners under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, extra-territorial jurisdiction. Offences without and beyond India. If a person who is a Bharatiya commits a crime outside India, whether that is punishable in India or not, answer is yes. So if an Indian citizen commits a crime, any country of the world, anywhere in the world he commits a crime. There was an example in IPC. That example was there. Was no longer in BNS, but that if an Indian person commits a crime in Uganda, commits murder in Uganda, he can be punished in India. Yes, he can be punished in India. If you commit a crime which is crime as per the BNS, and that too in India, that is definitely punishable by Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. It is absolutely it is absolutely clear that any Indian commits, wherever an Indian will go, they will take their laws with them. मैं भारत से बाहर चला जाऊं, भारत के कानून मेरे साथ साथ जाते हैं. And if I commit a crime at any point of time, then those laws will come haunting me. Whenever I will come back to India, I'll be punished for that. Indian citizen, nevertheless, very important to understand. If a person has committed a crime outside India, but that person is Indian citizen, we will punish. But suppose if a foreigner commits a crime in a foreign country, we have no jurisdiction. अमेरिकन ने चाइनीज को जापान में मार दिया, हमारा कोई रोल नहीं. हम कहेंगे भाई हम क्या कर सकते हैं, या तो जमीन भारत की होनी चाहिए या तो बंदा भारत का होना चाहिए. तो हम लोग दो में, तो देन ऑब्वियसली वी कैन टेक एक्शन अगेंस्ट दैट. ओके, ऑफेंसेस विदाउट एंड बियॉन्ड इंडिया. अच्छा बच्चों, एक एग्जांपल ऑब्वियसली इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट. Let's say an Indian commits a crime in a foreign country where that particular act is not crime. And suppose an Indian goes to Qatar, and there he participates in a child marriage. A 12-year-old child is getting married to someone, let's say 50, 55, 60 years old. Now that would be a very serious crime in India. That is not crime in, let's say, Qatar or any of the Middle Eastern country. Now, whether attending that marriage will be considered a crime. So, when the person comes back to India, whether it will punish him, the answer is yes. Because we will not see whether that particular act is crime in that country or not. Suppose there is a country in which drugs are allowed. It is okay for a person to consume marijuana, ganja. That person goes to that country and consumes a lot of ganja and come back to India. We can punish that person. Answer is yes. But obviously, we generally don't do that. If a Indian person commits a crime in a foreign country, that person cannot be punished without the consent, without the approval of Kendra Sarkar, government of India, the central government. And central government is absolutely not bothered about petty offences. If some serious crime has been committed by that, something which affects the interest of India, like he goes to a foreign country and has revealed some secrets about Bharat, has spied on India, or does some very serious or something very problematic. In those cases, in that case, obviously we will take action, but generally we don't take action for minor offences. But the rule is that we can. The central government, if they have give approval, a person who has committed a crime in foreign country, any Indian who has committed a crime in foreign country will be punished in Bharat. There is no problem. Okay. That is what we call extra-territorial jurisdiction. Last is ships and aircraft. Now you see there are places in the world which are not considered to be territory of any country, like high seas. high seas को गहरा जो समंदर है ना, पता है 12 नॉटिकल माइल तक एक देश की सीमा होती है, पर समंदर तो बहुत बड़ा है. The sea is vast, very very vast. So in that case, बच्चों, if the person commits a crime in high seas, or if a crime is committed on an aircraft, you must have seen some reels about it, that if the crime is committed in a moving aircraft, the aircraft is moving over one country, then it goes to another country. चाकू मारा तो एक देश में, सब चाकू निकाला दूसरे देश में, सेकंड स्टैब किया किसी तीसरे देश में. Obviously, aircrafts they fly very at a very high speed, and where the area is landlocked, you will not be able to determine which country's territory is that. So that is why we have a rule that ships and aircrafts, they have to be registered in a particular country. जितने भी वर्ल्ड में शिप्स हैं, वो किसी न किसी देश का झंडा लगाएंगी. They have to be registered in one country or the other. If a ship has no country, then it is a pirate ship. That's why they have that skull and bones flag. Rest every country will have its own. Every ship will have some country's flag. It will have some country's flag, and obviously, that if at that particular ship and that particular aircraft, in their aircraft will also have some country's flag. You must have seen all Indian aircrafts have that tricolor painted on them, and India is written big on bold letter. That will help the all the countries in the world to identify which country's aircraft is that. Okay, so ships and aircraft belongs to countries, and obviously while they can move all over the world, that particular ship or that particular aircraft will be considered territory of the country in which they are registered. तो अगर बच्चों भारत में एक शिप रजिस्टर्ड है, भारत के झंडे के अंदर फ्लाई कर रही है, वो वर्ल्ड में कहीं भी चली जाएगी, that particular ship will be considered Indian territory. So if a crime happens over that ship, obviously that is crime committed in India. So if an aircraft is registered in India, Air India का एक फ्लाइट है, वो फ्लाइट कहीं भी वर्ल्ड में उड़ रही है, obviously if a crime is committed in that particular aircraft, that crime is committed in India. That is what we call floating island theory. That ship is our island, and that if it is floating, it is goes anywhere in the world, कहीं पे भी है. अंटार्कटिका में भी आप शिप लेकर गए हैं, एयरक्राफ्ट लेकर गए हैं, वहां पे भी क्राइम होता है, हमारी जिम्मेदारी. No, that is something very important. एक स्पेस, इवन स्पेसक्राफ्ट जो होते हैं, that is also registered under some countries. The rockets भारत चलाता है, rockets आकाश में भेजता है, that rocket is also considered to be India's territory. That is something very important. Somebody attacks that particular rocket, that is a war against India. If you attack a satellite that belongs to India, that is a war, that is like waging war against India. So we are very sensitive about that. So that is what we call extra-territorial jurisdiction. भारत के बाहर हम कब किसी को पनिश करते हैं? जब व्यक्ति भारतीय हो, या फिर जो शिप्स एंड एयरक्राफ्ट हैं, obviously they are considered part of the Indian territory only, although they might be flowing or flying anywhere in the world. That is what we call jurisdiction. So I hope you all got some clarity on this particular topic. So this concludes our first module, and we will be moving on to our second module, that is general exceptions. Very interesting, from the next class. So keep learning. If you have any trouble understanding any of the things that I said, please let me know. I will try to clarify in the beginning of the next class. My topic is, my email ID is animesh@mpdnlu.c.in. Please reach me if you have any queries, any doubts. I'll be very, very happy to help. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next class.